Welcome to the Unlocking Senior Resources podcast by Leave the Key. I'm Larry Wagner, and I've spent 30 years working with seniors, where I was a certified senior advisor, and the last 15 years in the home buying industry as a certified senior transition specialist, where I specialize in dealing with seniors going through a transition in their lives. This podcast is for seniors, those with seniors they love, and people who work in the senior community. In each episode, we bring on a guest who works to improve the lives of seniors. This podcast is your key to unlocking senior resources. Welcome. Today we're here with Lori Sumekh of New York Elder Law Group to talk about Medicaid home care. Lori, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for coming by. And
Pleasure.
You have a specific niche in the legal profession, not only in the senior care, elder care, but specifically in the Medicaid planning portion, in the Medicaid home.
Yeah, we focus very heavily in Medicaid home care, getting home health aides in the house.
Right. So how did you get to that part? How did you get to be a lawyer and then get into this section of the law?
So I started out in the mortgage business, foreclosing homes.
That's very different, but okay.
selling bank-owned properties to people like you.
I bought them, yes.
And, yep. And in the late 80s, the market crashed. You might remember it.
Absolutely.
And my mortgage bank, like a lot of mortgage banks in Long Island, went under. So I decided, okay, let me go back to law school. So I did. And when I got out, I went to a foreclosure firm. And then
what you knew best.
Exactly.
Right.
And not the greatest choice in the world, but when I went out on my own, what made my phone ring was guardianship cases, adult guardianship cases where a senior person got dementia, couldn't take care of their own needs anymore. Somebody did a proceeding for them, and to have a court-appointed guardian for them. And I did a lot of those cases, a lot of contested cases. And one thing we always saw was that people tended to run out of their money pretty fast if they lost their capacity and they had to come under the jurisdiction of the court, let's say. And, fast forward, once you're dealing with the senior population, you have no choice but to learn the Medicaid rules, because when we're dealing with a senior who's lost capacity, we always have their assets to deal with.
Right.
And they'll either lose them paying privately for long-term care, for nursing home, or for around-the-clock home health aides, or we figure out how to protect them. So I kind of stumbled into it.
Interesting. Okay.
Actually.
And you've been doing it like for a week or two?
A week or two, exactly.
A week or two, yes.
It's 1997.
Same thing.
Yeah, it's a long week. Very long week.
A long week, yes.
So yeah, I mean, that's basically how I got into it. And it really, just over the years, I just had the necessity to learn more and more about it. And it just so happened that we became good at it.
Right.
So
you do it enough times.
Yeah, right. Practice.
Right. So that's interesting. Fascinating. Because first of all, I was a financial advisor for 30 years, and we never dealt with Medicaid at home. And I didn't even know my clients who were retired educators with Social Security and teacher pensions from New York City were even eligible. But we were talking beforehand, and you said it's how you position the income and so on. I assume once you have the income, you can't hide income.
You can.
And I have income from rentals, things like that's a whole nother animal. But when you have my wife's a retired school teacher. Her income is, I thought, exposed. I'll leave it at that. And you're saying not necessarily.
Well, it's funny. I have a lot of retired teachers as clients. I don't know why.
Right.
But they usually do have pretty good income. They usually have a TDA.
Correct.
They may have a pension.
Yep.
They have Social Security.
Yep.
The income limit for Medicaid is relatively low.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially for New York.
Especially for New York.
Yeah.
It's like $1,800 a month right now, plus a $20 disregard. If $1,820 if you're on Medicare.
Now, is that at home care or does it matter?
Care.
Okay, home
That's
care.
home care. Yeah. You're not really living at home if all you make is $1,800 a month.
You are not.
Even if
You're
you're
not
on a fixed income, you're not
even
really
paying your property taxes almost.
right. I mean, and even with a rent, even if
Right.
you're renting,
Right.
that's like a pretty tough number to live on,
It's
right?
a studio in someone's basement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't really expect you to live on that.
Right.
There are mechanisms to shelter your income.
Right.
Once we get you in a position to be eligible for Medicaid, what we do is we join them to a pooled income trust. Have you
Yes,
heard of those?
I've heard of absolutely.
Okay, so these are trusts that are run typically by nonprofits, and there's usually a charitable organization that they are working with for. So what we do is everything over the 1820. Now that number changes every year, like with around the time the COLA happens with Social Security.
Yep.
So everything over that 1820, let's say they make $5,000 a month. Everything over the 1820, we have to put into the pooled income trust. And I usually tell my clients, do an ACH, let the trust go in and debit your account on a certain date every month when all your income is in, and just take it out. Just take it out so you're not doing work, you're not writing a check, you're not remembering to write a check.
Or forgetting, unfortunately.
Or forgetting to write a check, exactly. Let them go in and take it out. And then every month you are telling them what bills to pay for you.
Right.
So that money is coming back to you in kind.
Right.
There are very few things you can't do with that money. You can't buy firearms, you can't gamble, and you can't buy liquor.
Then what's the point?
I know.
I don't drink, so I don't care about that one. But nothing like shooting things up, you know?
It's funny. One person did ask me if they could go to Atlantic City with it.
Really?
I said no. That's really one of the very, very few things you can't do.
3 things you can't do.
Right, right.
Okay.
So, so that's how we shelter their income.
Right.
Like if somebody's got some crazy income,
Right.
or if their spouse has some crazy high income,
Right.
it may be problematic.
Right.
Because we have to use that income every month. We don't want to accumulate it in the pooled income trust, because if you die, if there's a bunch of money left in there, it's not coming back to your family. It's staying with the charity.
Right.
So we try to have the money cycle in and out every month.
So you're putting a few $1,000s a month in, you're trying to get a few $1,000s a month out.
Exactly.
And then when you die, whatever's left, if you didn't use that few $1,000s, they keep it.
Right. Now, they'll pay your bills the month that you die.
Right.
You know, they're still going to pay your electric bill. Whatever it is, whatever bills you have them paying, they're going to pay that month's bills.
Right.
But if you've got a big surplus in there, it's a little bonanza for them.
But that bonanza for them was a tremendous savings for you, because the amount of
it was amazing.
The cost of care is outstanding.
Yeah. Have you noticed what it costs lately?
I have. Matter of fact, we have it for my mother-in-law. She has long-term care insurance, and the rates at January 1st are going up. Shocking.
Yeah.
Like everything else.
Well, I was speaking to someone from an agency at the Senior Umbrella Network meeting last month. And I was asking, what are your rates now? I said 35, right? She said, no, 37. Like, that's a lot of money every hour.
We're going from 35 to 36. Yeah.
And I have a very high needs population, clientele. And, so what we're comparing our fee to is if you're paying for this privately at $35 a month.
Your fee gets absorbed pretty quickly.
I mean, an hour.
An hour.
Yeah. That's like $260,000 a year.
Right.
I mean, that's really a lot of money.
And you only charge $130,000 a year, so it's a deal.
Exactly. It's a bargain.
It's a deal. Yeah. it's the cost of care is outrageous. It's unaffordable.
It's unaffordable. Yeah. And it's not like the people who are providing the care are getting rich either.
Right.
There's the agency who needs their fee, then the worker who needs their fee, and
the worker tends to get about half, is what my understanding is.
Something like that.
So they're making $18 an hour to take care of mom.
Right, which is no small job.
My mother had Lewy body dementia. I've mentioned that many times.
Oh, is that right?
And she was a vegetable for 3 years. And she had one aide for all 3 years, and then we had she had 24-hour care, so they kind of cycled months at a time. But that was a that was a full-hearted job. Let me phrase that.
That's right.
A full-hearted job.
That's right.
We actually I don't think there's anything wrong with that. We gave our aide extra money on the side
A lot of
because
people do that.
I didn't want her to work for, at the time, it was like $24 an hour.
Right.
I
You don't want her
didn't-
to leave either.
Right, not 24, $34 an hour. I didn't want not so much leave. She deserved more. It's my mother.
Yeah.
That is my mother's money. It's for her care.
Yeah.
It's not to be left to me or
Right.
my brother or sister. But I told people as a financial advisor, inheritance is a parting gift. I'm sorry, mom and dad are gone, but here's this as a parting gift. It's like a lifetime
it's what
supply
I
of rice or
didn't
roni.
use. Right.
So whatever I use, but it's for them. It's for them to go on vacation, for them to do whatever they want to do, and for them to have care. And if there's anything left over, then it becomes the kids.
Right.
But don't skimp and save so your kids can get the money.
And some families see it that way. And a lot of families see it that way. And then some don't.
My parents' generation saw it that way much more. My father would be like 100 years old today. But I think my kids' generation surely will not see it that way. It's for me.
Our kids' generation can
Right.
barely afford the prices today.
They can't.
You know, it's like
It's so sad, but we won't go
pretty much
down that
counting on
rabbit
us.
hole. So you're saying if they have income, any income, exposed income like pension, Social Security, give it to this pooled income trust, and then the pooled income trust pays their bills.
yeah, it pays
right.
pays directly their
Right.
bills directly, like in kind. It
Correct.
doesn't put the money back in mom's hand.
Correct.
They pay
They
mom's
pay
bills.
the utility bill, the mortgage, whatever.
Right.
So now they're allowed to have $1,800 worth of income. Does that mean they're giving everything but leaving $1,800 for themselves? Okay, but
Well, like it's all for themselves, right? There's just
Okay.
$1,800 that stays in their checking account, and they can do
Correct.
anything they want with it, even firearms and gambling.
that's where the gambling comes in.
That's where you
Okay,
gamble from.
got it. Not the other money, but that money. So you have $1,800 a month to blow away in Atlantic City or
Right.
Foxwoods. Okay, so now the question is, there's two components to Medicaid. There's the income and there's the asset component. Now, if you're retaining this $1,800 for too long, you're going to see the asset.
So you're not going to let it accumulate to the point that it gets over.
Right.
Now, this year's number is 32,000 and some change,
Okay,
right?
that's not that many 1800s.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're not going to just let it sit there and accumulate.
Right.
You keep your eye on that checking account because you might
Right.
have to buy something or pay some
Right.
bills with that money
Right.
to keep it from accidentally disqualifying you.
Correct.
Right?
That'd be terrible. Now, you're allowed to give that money away.
No. Well, the 18?
The 1,800, or is that a look back issue and all that?
I don't like to let people give money away once they're
Right.
at this point.
Correct.
Because while there's no look back period for Medicaid home care right at this moment,
Right.
there is a look back period for nursing home, and
Right.
sometimes
They progress.
That's the next step, right?
Right.
So
They graduate from home
they
care.
graduate
right?
exactly.
Yeah, we'll put a positive spin on it.
Exactly.
Okay, my wife just graduated from a wheelchair to a new kind of boot because she's going through physical therapy. So it's a graduation. So it's like kids
Milestone.
graduating from preschool. I love that.
Oh, right.
Everything's
the
a
whole
graduation.
ceremony.
The whole ceremony, absolutely. So with that said, so you don't want to accumulate money because of what may be in the future. Very
Right.
logical. So what they don't want to give the extra $1,800 if they don't need that to pay their bills. So what do they
Buy
do with
something.
it? Buy something. Okay.
Buy a computer. No, okay. Does mom need a computer? Maybe not. But maybe the person, who's arranging all this stuff for mom,
Okay.
maybe she can borrow it. Or,
Right.
you know,
Got
Mom
it.
can get a new bed. Mom could get new clothing. Mom could
Right.
get a piece of jewelry.
Right.
You just,
But you said something, a piece of jewelry. I have a question. This jewelry,
not the Hope Diamond.
not for $1,800, even for $3,600. So a piece of jewelry. Now, I'm not a fan who believes jewelry is an investment. Being a financial advisor, I would never tell people to invest in jewelry. But if you have a piece of jewelry, let's assume you buy a piece of jewelry for $18,000 or a whole bunch of 1800s. You pass away. Is that part of a clawback if they go to a nursing home? Is that part of a clawback, or a piece of jewelry would not be anywhere and just goes to your daughter? I mean, is that part of an estate
If
technically?
it's an insured registered thing,
Right.
maybe.
Right.
But otherwise, your personal effects
Right.
are not of that much interest to Medicaid.
That was exactly what I'm asking.
Right.
They're asking for the bank accounts, the brokerage accounts, your real estate, and so on. Okay, that's what I
Yep.
would have imagined. Do they even
Yep.
look at things like your car?
Not really. I mean, you're
Okay.
allowed to have one car
Right,
when you're on Medicaid.
right,
They're not so interested in your
right.
car.
They're looking at big numbers.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
they're interested in your house
They're in your
if
house.
they can get it. Yes.
Well, yeah, that's usually people's pension plan and their homes. The two single biggest assets.
Yep.
back to the pool trust. So I now make $7,000 a month. I live on $4,000 a month. I
you
can
got
keep
three
18.
extra.
So I've
Right.
got 3 extra, 1,800 I keep for myself. What am I doing with the $1,200?
Well, you might. That some people have that problem.
Right.
I mean, very often people don't.
Okay.
Very often people don't have this huge income problem.
Okay.
But some people do.
The required distribution is probably the biggest problem when it comes to increased income.
It does increase your
Yeah.
income. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can prepay a funeral.
Okay.
You cannot. So when you die, let's say you've got 20 grand in your
Right.
pooled income trust.
Right.
You cannot pay for a funeral with that 20 grand. But when you are alive, and don't ask me why, but when you are alive, you can do a prepaid funeral
Why?
and you could
Nothing.
pay. I wish I knew.
Good.
It's kind of silly.
Right.
But you could do a prepaid funeral when you're alive and you can pay it off every month out of your pooled income trust.
Okay.
So I kind of recommend that to people
Right.
often if they have excess income because
It's
you
free
know,
money. It's going to get lost
and
otherwise.
It's going to get lost otherwise. Funerals are expensive, so you
was
can
gonna ask you, do you know
knock
what a
off
funeral-
16 grand.
Okay. I was going to ask you know what a funeral costs. Okay.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Okay.
I had a client who just paid 20 something for one recently. I thought that was kind of a lot, but
Right.
they wanted a lot of stuff.
Well, being Jewish, we use the simple casket.
Right.
That helps.
In the box, down we go.
In the box, down we go. Yeah. That helps. Because
Yeah.
I see some of these really exorbitant $5,000 caskets to go into the ground.
For what?
And that's the one thing I like about being Jewish. We get to buy a cheap casket. Yeah.
That's right.
And one of the many things. But it was $850, I think, for my father's casket. I don't
pine
know my mother's. Yeah, pine box. No, and no nails.
Yep. No,
So,
none of this viewing stuff and
Right. Yes.
2 nights and
Yeah.
the whole
Very
Megillah.
easy, still expensive. The whole process was ridiculous, but
No, it is ridiculous, and it's one of those things they kind of got you right.
yeah, nothing you can do about it.
Nothing you
But,
can do. About
but
it.
at least you can prepay it with money that you would have lost either as too many
Right.
dollars in assets or too much
Right.
income.
Right.
Okay. All right. So pooled income trust seems like the answer. But so again, so if you have too much money, you've just got to use that excess money for something that doesn't create an asset that will be attached after death.
Right.
You're not buying a summer home with that money
No.
because they'll come after that.
Right. You're buying stuff.
Stuff.
Yeah. And a
Okay.
lot of people don't like blowing money because
Right.
it's just not in their DNA, right? They've
Me.
saved their whole lives,
Right.
right? But, you're not going to like losing it either.
Right. Doesn't mean you can't buy a computer that you keep at your daughter's house when you go visit.
That's right.
Right, yeah.
Or a coat.
Right, or a coat, right. Well, my daughter comes to see me in the winter, and I need to make sure she doesn't get sick, so I have to buy her a nice coat.
That's right.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
So, okay. So, all right, that seems like a very simple process. Am I wrong?
Let me put it this way. Once we have it in place, it
Yes.
works like clockwork because I always have people have the pool just debited out every month.
Mm-hmm.
Don't, like I say, don't write them a check. Don't forget to write them a check.
Correct.
You say
I agree. A monthly automatic payment.
automatic payment and automate as many of your bills as you can. If
Yep.
it's a mortgage, you tell them, you give them a mortgage statement and just pay this every month.
Right.
If it's a rent, you give them a rent statement, pay this every month.
Right.
If it's something that's not the same amount every month, you're going to have to give them the bill and let them pay
Correct.
it.
Like a
every
credit card bill.
yeah.
Right.
So it works like clockwork once you have it going. People get very confused by it. Clients find it very confusing. That's not how they're used to managing their money.
Okay.
They're used to writing their checks. They have all their bills on auto pay. Now what do? Okay, you take them off auto pay.
Right.
And then, we're doing things differently now. People don't like change.
Do you get involved
confusing.
in helping them do this, or that's not?
I get involved in explaining it to them. I
Okay.
set them up.
Right.
I join them to the pool.
Mm-hmm.
I tell them what to do. I give them a contact over at the pool trust,
Mm.
and that person will walk them through how to do it every month.
Okay.
So I'm not getting physically involved with the month-on-month
Okay.
thing, but we're setting them up with the pool.
Okay.
and
you
we're
have staff
explaining it.
to
And we have
okay.
staff.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So it confuses them, and it's one of many, many steps in the home care process. So it's just one more thing that they've got to wrap their heads around that seems kind of ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's a workaround.
Yeah, we've got like 40 workarounds
Right.
to make home care work.
Yeah. So now they've put their money, their income in a pool trust. How many dollars of assets you say they're allowed to have?
They're allowed to have 32.
Okay. I
should know the exact number.
It
32
changes every
and
year.
some change.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
I used
we'll split
to
hairs.
memorize the numbers every single year. Now it's like,
It
it's
doesn't
32
matter.
grand.
It doesn't exactly. I'm a rounding kind of guy.
Yeah, I don't want you taking it up to the penny anyway.
Right. So now, if I have $500,000, I come to see you. You can shelter my income, but that doesn't mean no good. I have $500,000. I'm going to be disqualified.
We got to get rid of that too.
Right. So is that the next part of the story?
So generally speaking, we're going to put that in a Medicaid asset protection trust.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if you need home care right now and you came to me right now, you're really lucky because we still don't have a look back period for home care Medicaid.
Now, is that a New York thing?
That is a New York thing. Most states do. We're I don't know if there's another state in the country that doesn't, but we, I think, are the absolute most generous state for home care. I mean, we're getting less generous.
But we're broke.
Yeah, and who knows what is going to happen with the feds. I mean, we know what's happening. We just don't know what the effect is going to look like yet, right? But right now, we don't have a look back period, so we would do a trust for you. We would put your assets in that trust.
Right.
Your son would be your trustee or your daughter.
Right.
Okay. You are not privy to the principle of that trust, but it can throw you income, and that income would be taxed to you.
Right. And that'd be part of my income, which I would have to shelter through the whole process we just discussed.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But I don't have to take income from it, or do I?
You don't. It depends how we structured the trust.
Okay.
And then we're going to keep your 32 grand in your name because you don't want to be dead broke.
Right.
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 And then we're going. You want the whole process? Okay.
Share it with everybody.
So,
if you don't mind giving us the secret sauce.
I don't mind because nobody can do it.
Right. There you go.
It's like...
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Back in the day, when I first started doing this, people could get themselves onto the home care program. It was a pain in the neck.
Right.
And they don't help you through it. Right. They make it as convoluted as they possibly can.
Right.
And now nobody can do it. It's really ridiculous now. But so we have a managed care system for home care in New York. And you know what managed care is.
Yeah.
Okay? These for-profit insurance companies are the ones who are providing it. It's outsourced.
Right.
To the state outsources the home care to the managed care insurance companies. And then they contract with the care agencies, and then the care agencies send the aides.
So my granddaughter I mentioned in the past, is on Medicaid. She's 3 years old, special needs. And she gets, I forget how many hours worth of care, 50 hours a week worth of care. And they now have one agency in New York State. There used to be, you can choose from agencies. Is that what you're talking about?
PPL?
Is that what it is?
Is she on the consumer-directed program, like her mom is the aide?
My wife is the aide.
Yeah, it's one agency.
Right.
We fought it tooth and nail.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
And they're not competent.
Right. Yeah.
But that's a different...
Everything you're saying is correct.
Okay, but that's different than what you're talking about? Well, not necessarily.
So that is the agency that is the fiscal intermediary for the consumer-directed program.
Okay.
For adults, just like what your granddaughter has.
Yes.
So that is one option. We're still dealing with a managed care company, though.
Okay.
So like Aetna, like Centers Plan, like VNS, River Spring. So what a lot of people do is they will apply either through an agency who will put them into and manage long-term care, or they'll take it upon themselves to apply through the managed long-term care. And that is a huge mistake because these managed long-term cares will give you 6 hours a day if you're bedbound.
Right.
Okay. They don't care that you're alone for the other,
Right.
what is it, 18?
Right,
They
yes.
don't care. They
Right.
literally don't care.
I hear that all the time.
It's a fact. So it's insane and it's illegal. Okay.
It's illegal.
We have something called the Olmstead case that requires states, Medicaid, to provide care at home as long as a person is able to be cared for at home, to the same degree as they would
In a nursing home?
get in a nursing home. Right. Everyone's breaking the law. Everyone's breaking the law.
How is this possible?
No accountability. I mean, that's the answer. Listen, we have a workaround for that.
Right.
We have something called the Immediate Needs Program.
Mm-hmm.
That's an expedited program where and every county in New York is required to have this expedited program. Okay. So when our client meets certain criteria, which they typically do, we go through the Immediate Needs Program, which is going directly through the local Department of Social Services, like Nassau County DSS, Suffolk County DSS. In the boroughs, it's HRA. Okay, we go directly to them, and I would send you out for a fresh doctor appointment. I've got to get a medical form, and the form has to be. I've got to file you within 30 days of that doctor appointment. So we get the fresh doctor appointment. We set you up with your pooled income trust. We get your assets out of your name. And then we're going to apply into the Immediate Needs Program. Okay. Now, that program has strict time requirements that Medicaid has to adhere to. Are they? No, they're not. But it's like they have 7 days to approve the application, not the 45 days that Medicaid has if we apply the regular route.
Okay.
They've got 7 days, and then they have to ask for additional information if they want it, and they've got to process it right away. In the meantime, they are arranging for 2 mandatory state assessments. I know your eyes are going to glaze over, right?
No.
So there are independent assessments. Mm-hmm. A nurse and a nurse practitioner. Mm-hmm. That's got to be scheduled and done within 14 days.
Are they looking for different things, or are they just getting a consensus of the care of the need?
What the state assessment is for is to determine if you are or are not eligible for long-term care.
Okay.
Managed long-term care.
Okay.
If you don't have enough activities of daily living,
correct. They use the 6 these days?
Yeah.
It used to be 5.
And now you've got to have 3 ADLs.
Oh, really?
Unless you have dementia.
Right.
Then you have dementia plus 2 ADLs.
Hi, I'm Larry.
And I'm Ben. We're the father and son team of Leave the Key Homebuyers, and we want to buy your house.
We specialize in working with seniors who are transitioning out of their homes, and we understand what you were going through.
So if you're considering selling your home and would like an alternative to the traditional overwhelming process, reach out and see how we can help.
Do you have an outdated home?
No need to update anything.
Have a home that needs repairs?
Don't bother with repairs.
Don't want to take everything with you?
Leave whatever you want behind.
Dreading the headaches that come with agents?
Sell your home without paying a commission.
Dreading prying neighbors attending open houses and passing judgment on your home?
No need for public showings.
When you sell to us, you'll have all the certainty of closing on your timeline, not someone else's, and there's absolutely no pressure.
Visit leavethekey.com or call us today for a no-obligation offer at 631-388-7771 if you want to sell your home today.
Oh, really? It used to be 2 out of 5, then 2 out of 6, or cognitive impairment.
Just changed. It literally changed as of September.
Wow. So you need 3 out of 6?
Yeah.
Or cognitive impairment and 2. Then 2 out of the remaining.
Like I have dementia, and I need help showering, and I need help walking or
so
dressing
dementia's
or whatever
not even sufficient. You can't live alone if you have dementia.
Exactly. However,
okay,
that's where advocacy comes. That's where advocacy comes in. Okay, because they try to couch everything as, independent. You need independent help because you have dementia. You need supervision.
Right.
They don't need supervision. They usually need help with their activities of daily living.
Right.
And the supervision is part and parcel of that. yeah, it's all of my clients need all their ADLs. Okay.
Right.
So for a lot of people, this is a big issue right now. For people who are servicing people who need a little bit of help,
Right.
it's a problem. But so the New York Independent Assessor's Office, they are just determining, do you need help with enough ADLs? And on the other end, are you medically stable, or can you not be cared for at home?
Right. Right.
You don't see that very often.
Okay.
So with my clientele, that's kind of just something we have to get through.
Right.
And then the nurse from DSS is going to come out and do an assessment. And I'm always going to have my care manager out there with that nurse advocating, because, like, if they asked your mom, do you need help
Right.
going potty? No, I can do it myself.
She couldn't speak. They'd have a real hard time.
Okay. Doesn't mean they wouldn't decide she doesn't need help, but
Right.
But yeah, a lot of people, they're not going to admit to needing help.
Right.
With
Absolutely.
the toilet.
Oh,
and
trust
stuff like
me,
that.
I know. I know.
So we are in the mix,
Yes.
advocating, for what the person really needs,
The
as
kids
opposed to what
say-
they say they need.
But daughter says, Mom can't do blank. And Mom says, of course I can do blank.
Yes, I can.
Yes.
I cooked you
Yes.
dinner tonight.
Right, right. Well, that
really,
was
you
3
didn't,
years
Mom.
ago.
That's right, exactly. But yeah, so we micromanage the process.
Okay.
And like I say, all of our people are high needs. So all of my clients have either 24-hour split shifts, live in,
Right.
or the lowest we get in place is 12 hours.
Better than 6.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you only want 6, I don't know if you want to come to me for that,
Right.
because you're paying significant money
Right.
to get what you actually need and deserve. Now, we've had people who Medicaid is offering 12 hours and they
Right.
don't want 12 hours. They only
Right.
want 8.
Right.
And we talk them out of it, and we can't talk them out of it. 3 months later, Mom needs
Right.
12.
Now you can't get
okay,
it
now
back.
we've got to appeal.
Yeah.
And now we're not getting them back without
Take
an
what you
appeal.
get and yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So the nurse will come out, they'll do their assessment, they'll go back to the office, and then they will determine how many hours they're awarding. They will send it out to one of their vendor agencies,
Right, right.
one of the care agencies they contract
Right.
with, right? And the care will begin. Now, back in the day, this happened pretty timely. I could get care in place within about a month or so. That's before the independent assessments had to happen, and it's before Medicaid just came to a complete work stoppage in processing the cases. Now, I sometimes have to do a fair hearing just to get them to process the case. It's unbelievable. It's just literally unbelievable. And it's just the accountability thing. Yeah, you're not adhering to your rules. What am I going to do about it?
Right.
Unless I go to hearing and I force you to do it, you're just going to do your thing.
That's what I say is, the older we get, the more difficult simple things become. And I remember I was a financial advisor from 1990 to 30 years to 2020. And I watched the minimum distribution rules were so complicated. They made them more simple later. Even they keep changing. They changed them. But
Yeah, right.
why make them so complicated? And the penalty if you screw up was 50%, which is such an onerous thing to put onto a senior citizen
Yeah, for someone
who may
who
have dementia or
Kind of
something.
doesn't know what they're doing.
Doesn't know what they're doing. If you make it simple or automatic and so on, and then Medicaid, more people on Medicaid are senior citizens. I assume they represent the vast majority of the Medicaid claimants. Not all of them.
Well,
granddaughter.
seniors and disabled.
And disabled. Well, and disabled sometimes is a capacity disability, like my granddaughter. My granddaughter's only 3, so she has parents. But they make it so hard. Now, I almost wonder if that's by design. I really do. And I for those who are not watching this, listening, I'm shaking my head in frustration. So I don't, the minimum distribution bothered me for 30 years. And then getting involved in the Medicaid world, it's like just a continuation of that frustration.
It's really getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
And it does upset me on a regular
Yeah.
basis, because my clients aren't getting what they're supposed to get.
Right.
And I'm like a dog with a bone.
Mm-hmm.
They will get it. You know what I mean? We have to appeal. We do a lot of appeals now. In fact, once they transition into managed care, which everyone does, even though we entered through the personal, the immediate needs door,
Right.
everyone has to transition into managed care after they've been getting services from immediate needs for a couple months, right? So then we have to micromanage that too, because the managed care, let's say you pick VNS, for example. They come out, they do the assessment, they say, okay, we're going to give you 6 hours. But if my care manager's not there to tell them, no, she has transition rights, you're keeping the 24 hours a day. And you have to do that for 90 days.
Right.
If she's not there to tell them that, the nurse who's out there doing that assessment doesn't know it.
Right.
And isn't apparently instructed to know it or ask or anything like that. So they have to keep their hours the same for the next 90 days. And then they can come in and cut their hours after that. And then when they do that, it's appealable. So we'll appeal it.
I have a headache.
Everyone I talk to does. It's funny. I always tell people, have some Advil with you when we have this conversation.
I have done, I don't know, 60, 70 podcasts. I've never said that before. This is so...
I'm the only one that made you sick.
The only one who's made me say that. This is so frustrating, so complex. So...
it's horrible.
It's horrible. So I have a question. Is your relationship then with your client a lifelong relationship?
It's moving in that direction, yeah. Well, I usually tell people when we get started on home care, you're kind of going to be married to me for about the next 9 months.
Okay.
'Cause we have to get you all the way into managed care. And then we hope they're not going to come on day 91 and cut your hours. If they do, we're going to have to appeal it.
Right.
And the other thing we do a lot of is people who did enter into the program through the wrong door.
Right.
Like going directly to managed care. They've got their 6 hours and they've asked for, and here's what it is. This is kind of sickening. They've asked for more hours and the nurse comes out and assesses them and says, oh no, you have to, I can't even tell you all the things they've told me over the years. You have to have bed sores. You have to not be able to walk. You have to be drooling all day long. But whatever. They tell them the stupidest things why you're not eligible for more hours or for like round the clock. None of those things are true.
My granddaughter drools all day long. Can I get more hours?
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, well, so once you get them out there, well. Once they call me and say, I don't think I'm allowed to get more hours, they said no. And then they'll try again in 6 months. They'll say no again. And maybe at some point they'll call and see, gee, is there anything we can do about this?
Right.
I'm like, sure. We're going to ask them for 24-hour split shifts, assuming that's what they need, right? They're going to come out and assess. They're going to say no. We are going to do what is a prerequisite, and we are going to ask the plan to reconsider. That's called a plan appeal, right?
Okay.
So they're going to reconsider. They're going to call you the next day and say, yeah, we agree with ourselves. We're not giving you more. So we're going to say, okay, thank you. Send me the letter. And then we're going to start the real appeal process. We are going to do an external appeal. We're the two things we're entitled to do are an external appeal and a fair hearing. Now, if we do an external appeal first and we lose, we are entitled to go do a fair hearing. If we do a fair hearing first and we lose, we don't get the second bite at the apple and we get to go back to the external. So we'll do the external appeal. It's done on papers.
Done on papers, meaning?
It's not a face-to-face hearing.
Oh, okay.
We do a brief. Okay. We provide all the medical documentation. We get the plan's assessment, which almost always makes our case.
Okay.
Okay. And typically we'll win. A doctor reviews it. It goes through the Department of Financial Services, just like if your doctor ordered something and your insurance denied it.
Right.
That's who they would appeal to.
Kind of ironic. The Department of Financial Services is making a decision for someone's care.
Well, they're not making the decision. They're actually sending it out to an independent reviewer.
Okay.
And the independent reviewer has it reviewed by a doctor.
Okay.
Which is usually better than having it reviewed by a judge.
Right. That makes sense. You said something logical.
It's great.
Okay.
Yeah. And we can get that expedited. So once they get it, they've got 72 hours to review it. And they call us up and they say, we reversed the plan. And I call the client and I say, you got your 24 hours. And everyone's happy.
Right.
And that's it's always how it goes, right? Always how it goes. Very rarely do I have to ratchet it up to a fair hearing.
Right.
And the thing is, it's a numbers game for these guys. It's like, I don't want to sound sinister, but I'm right.
It's like insurance company. But there are insurance companies.
Everyone says no,
Yeah.
and 95% of people are not going to go get a lawyer
Right.
and pay money to appeal it. So 95% of the people, these guys don't have to pay out for.
Right.
Okay. This 5%. I mean, I'm making up the percentages.
Right, yeah, sure.
But okay, we know we're getting stuck with this. We don't even put in papers to fight it, by the way.
Right.
We know we're losing.
Right.
But as long as we're not paying for the care, we're kind of winning. Once they make us, then we have to.
When I had my first business, I used to own a custom cabinet shop in the 1980s, and I had a fire. In my second year of business, my factory was gone. And they wanted to give me 10% of my insurance. 10% of my amount.
That's generous.
It was very generous. They're happy to write a check that day.
Sure
so
they were.
I hired an insurance adjuster and I got 96%. See? You throw enough stuff and enough offers against the wall, some people are going to take them.
Right.
And that's what you're talking about.
Everybody thinks you can't get 24-hour care in New York. Everybody thinks
thought you
that.
couldn't.
Yeah. You have to make them give it.
Right.
They will not do what they're supposed to do unless you force them.
Right.
So, and we kind of live to force them.
That's your challenge in life, but it's your bread and butter too.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
Because they make me so mad.
I'm getting angry, and I'm just hearing it from you. So
Yeah, it's just wrong.
right.
You know.
Oh my gosh. I have like a million things running through my head. So you said something about, when I said, how long is your engagement? Is it like a lifelong engagement? You said typically 9 months. Is 9 months a specific marker, or that's the time it takes to get them what they need and have it solidified? And then once they're on 24-hour care for a period of time, how often is it reviewed that they can lose it?
So
Are those logical questions?
yeah, they are.
Okay.
So first, we have to transition them into long-term care.
Okay.
Into managed care.
Okay.
And then they get through their, what did I call it? Their transition period.
Right.
Okay. And then they get assessed. The plans are assessing every 6 months now. They're
Okay.
going out and doing a reassessment.
Okay.
And at any of those reassessments, they can say, you don't really need this anymore. We're cutting you. And they do it a lot.
So if you haven't changed, can they still do that, or they're just going to find change?
They can't, but they do.
Mom has dementia.
Right.
Mom's dementia's not getting better.
Right. And 2-3 years down the road, she doesn't really need this much care anymore.
They will do that.
They will do that. They do that.
They do that.
They
Okay.
do that. This past February, it's like an onslaught of cuts. I think it was VNS. They just sent cut notices out, like to all these people. So we had to do all of these. We had to request fair hearings so we could stop the cut from going into effect.
Mm-hmm.
And then, then we're going to have to go through the whole appeal process, and
Right.
make them not cut the care. So, and every 6 months, they have an opportunity to come back and do that.
Every 6 months. So if they cut, so now my time with you is finished. You've got me on my 24-hour care. I'll say, Mom. You got Mom on the 24-hour. You want to take a drink of water or something? You okay?
I'm okay.
Okay. So you're getting over a cold. Bad timing.
Sorry.
I postponed you because I had laryngitis. Maybe you should have postponed me. So I get Mom on care. You got Mom on 24-hour care. I've applauded your success. Mom's being taken care of in 6 months.
You've also sent me like a fruit basket because you're so happy
That's
because you see the thesaurus that we went through
Right.
for this whole process.
Correct.
And we actually got it done.
And you got it done. I understand. Yes, absolutely. A fruit basket a month.
Right.
We have to spend the money.
You have to spend the money, right? Why not on me?
So so with that in mind, so now 6 months, 9 months go by. Now a year goes by. She's now in for her 6-month checkup, and they want to cut her benefits. I get on the telephone. I call you because they cut her benefits now. and then you're back in the saddle again.
Yeah.
Continuing what you were
Well,
doing
and
before.
I mean, it's a new retention. I mean, you're paying
Okay.
me once it
Okay.
comes to doing
Right.
the appeals and stuff. Now, when I have to do a fair hearing just to get them moving on the case,
Right.
I'm not charging the client for that because it's like unconscionable.
Right.
But I'm still doing
Right.
work that I didn't charge them for.
Right.
But I just don't have the heart to charge them for
Uh-huh.
something that they paid me to get in place.
Right.
So I'm not charging them when we don't even have the care in place yet, and we have to do a hearing because
Correct.
these guys aren't doing their job because they're short staffed, because this, because that.
Right.
So, but once everything's in place and everything's all set,
Right.
they usually do come back to me and they hire us to deal with their recertifications. They don't have to; they can do
Right.
it for themselves. But by
Right.
the time they've gone through this nonsense, they're scared to death.
I'm scared
know?
just listening to you. Right. So
Yeah.
so with that in mind, okay. So I could see, and you're a proven success story. You've now got mom on 24-hour care.
Right.
Why am I going to sit there and try to do it on my own? So I'm going to
Right.
save a few $1,000s, whatever you're going to charge me. If I fail, the cost is it's a risk reward calculation.
Right.
But I don't know what you charge. Whatever you charge is a fraction of the amount of money I'm going to save if I were to pay for the other 12 hours out of my own
That's
pocket.
correct.
So-
It's like really a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I like when you meaning generic you, offer a benefit to someone way smaller than your cost. And
Way bigger than the cost.
the benefit is way small. I'm sorry, the benefit's way smaller than your cost. Yes, way bigger than your cost.
Yeah.
That your fee is way smaller than the benefit, I meant to say.
And it's
Thank
not
you
that
for
it's
correcting
that
that.
small, but
Right.
but it's relative.
It's exact. It's relative.
Yeah.
So you're talking about 24-hour care at $36. Well, 24-hour care is not $36 an hour. Then usually you're paying for a 24-hour care.
Well, it depends. If they're going to pay the agency, yeah,
Right.
it is.
'Cause-
If they're going to, hire somebody undocumented,
Right. No.
they're going to get them
No.
for less, right?
So
But
I have a question about that. This may not be in your neck of the woods, your area of not area, but your area of business. But my mother had X number of hours of care. She had long-term care insurance.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do any of this. And we had, 6-8 hours a day because that's all she needed at the time. She lived with my dad. And they lived in an independent living, but it was a small place. They didn't have to cook or anything. And that was fine. Then she needed 24-hour care. And they didn't bill us for 24 hours. They had two people come in. They had one person come in for 3 days, one person come in for 4 days. But they only got paid for X number of hours for the day.
was
like
that
sleeping
through an agency?
through an agency. So
They
didn't-
might have made you a special price since it was.
They said they didn't pay
around
their
the clock.
aides like for nighttime, which is kind of crazy. They're
Which is
sleeping.
kind of wrong because they
Right.
could be sleeping in their own bed,
Correct.
watching their TV, eating
Exactly.
bonbons
We have
instead
never-
of at your house.
Right. It turned out to be beautiful because my father had passed and it was a 2-bedroom unit. They had their own beautiful bedroom and they had the master bedroom with a queen size bed. It was a really kind of nice custom bedroom set, which I built back in the 1980s.
Oh, wow.
But putting that aside, so it was a really nice arrangement, but it wasn't their own home. But they didn't get paid for the 24 hours. So I don't know if that's normal or not typical.
You know what? I don't know because it
Okay.
was through an agency.
Right,
Like
right.
if
So that may not be your
if we
area.
had live-in care through
Right.
Medicaid, they're actually paying for 91 hours a week, even though
Okay.
these poor aides are not going home sleeping in their own beds.
Right,
So they're not paying them for every hour that they're there.
right. My typical work week for 5 years was 90 hours. So I know what 90 hours a week is.
It's a
It was
lot.
8 a.m.
It's a lot.
to midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, 5 days a week. Plus I work Saturdays and Sundays. That's 90 hours. So
Yeah,
90
plus
hours
you
is a lot of
gotta
hours.
get up when mom has to go potty in the middle
Correct.
of the night.
Correct.
It's
So 90 hours is a lot of hours, but
Yeah, it's a rough
but it's
job.
not there may be more hours than that.
right.
So
Right.
it's a profession. You have to be a special person to be in that profession.
You do. You
Well,
do.
to be good at it anyway.
You do. And a lot of
Yes.
them have a real heart for it.
Yeah.
Not all. But, by and large, our clients are pretty happy with their Medicaid aids.
Right.
I mean, it's the same pool of people that they're getting if they pay privately through
Right.
an agency.
But it's the same.
The
they're getting the
people
same price.
who do that work. Yeah.
Right. So we went to an agency. The gentleman was on this podcast before. Went through a local agency right here. you're going through a different agency, now going through Medicaid is supplying them. You're not going to a private agency to locate them, these aides. That's going through.
So certain agencies contract with Medicaid.
Okay.
And certain agencies contract with the managed long-term cares that contract with Medicaid.
Okay.
So we're using the agencies that and a lot of the agencies they contract with Medicaid. They also do private.
Okay, they can
pay.
do both.
They can do both, and yeah, a lot of them do, like VNS, for instance.
Okay, that was a lot.
Yeah, sorry.
No. The government should say sorry, not
They
you.
really should.
Yes.
They really should.
They owe me an apology.
I live every day trying to make them sorry.
You're trying to. You do by getting the 24-hour care. You make them sorry. So, gosh. So, I'm sitting here in silence. I have so many things going through my mind. If you're not watching, you're just listening. My mouth is about to open and close. About to open and close. About to open and close. I want to ask a question, but I'm afraid of the answer, so I'm not going to ask it.
No, come on.
Okay. So if we work, because we've gone through the whole spectrum here, I'm a bullet point guy. Can you bullet point the process? Like, first we do this, second we do this, third we do this? Because we've spent, at this point, we're on the podcast, about 45 minutes we're talking about this.
I can.
And, okay, so what would those bullet points be?
Okay.
Yeah.
First, we're going to make sure that you're eligible. And if you're not eligible, we're going to get you eligible by getting your assets out of your name.
Right.
Through whatever means we decide is best for you.
Or and then the income issue.
Right. Then we are going to shelter your income. We're going to join you to a pooled income trust. Then we are going to send you to the doctor for a fresh doctor appointment. And I'm going to reach out to the doctor's office and hound them every day until they give me the form that I need. And Medicaid's really picky-uni about the form. So we're going to get what we need from the doctor. Then we're going to get some documentation from you.
Right.
A whole bunch of documents have to accompany the Medicaid application. Then we are going to file the Medicaid application with the Immediate Needs Program. We are also going to file the pooled trust with the immediate needs, and they are going to review it. Then they're going to send it up to the state of New York, and the state of New York has 90 days to determine if you're eligible to use the pooled income trust. And to be eligible, you have to be disabled. So we have to give them documentation so that they can make a disability determination. And they use the same criteria as SSD uses, as Social Security uses for SSD. So that's going to be in the works. There are going to be a few plates spinning all at the same time. Then we're going to be getting the appointments with the independent assessor, the 2 appointments. Then they're going to issue an order. Then we're going to give that order to the local Department of Social Services office. Then we're going to set up a nurse assessment with them. Then my care manager is going to advocate for the hours that we need for our client. Then they're going to go back and they're going to assess, the situation, and they're going to determine what hours they're giving. Then they're going to send it out to a vendor agency. Vendor agency is going to come in and start the care. Then they're going to be getting this, and this is if everything goes well. Right. So they're going to be getting this care for a couple, 3 months. And then they're going to get a notice from the state of New York saying, okay, time for you to transition over to managed long-term care, pick a plan. Then they're going to call us, and we're going to help them pick a plan. They usually like their aides, so we try to find a managed long-term care plan that contracts with the same agency that Immediate Needs has out there, because they don't like change.
That's a big deal.
It's a big deal. And if you like your aides, you don't want to get rid of her and have some new ones, right?
Correct.
So we do that. Then the MLTC, Managed Long-Term Care, comes out. They do their assessment. We argue with them. Then
we argue with them.
Yeah. Then depending on the time of the month that happened, either the first of the next month or the first of the following month, they're going to be enrolled in that plan.
Right.
And now that's going to be their MLTC. Then they're going to have their 90-day transition period, and we hope we're not going to hear from them again.
Right.
Not the clients, but the plan. And then we have everything in place.
Okay.
And we're happy.
So that was a 2-minute summary
of a 9-month process.
Of a 9-month process and a 40-minute discussion. But that's usually I ask people, what's the biggest takeaway? And I'm leaving that. That's not a question I ask. This is it. This is the process. It's a long, complicated process. You can't do it on your own. The government makes it, basically, the government keeps you in business.
Thank you.
There you go. So you're not mad at them at all. They're looking out for the lawyers. They're looking out for the lawyers.
Someone's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it. You poor lawyers. So with that said, clearly this is way beyond anyone's realm of ability to do it on their own. Well, I'll say most anybody should do it well. And the cost, as we said, your fee is a fraction of the benefit you could be missing if you do it on your own. And
right. And people do understand that.
People don't. I can't fathom they don't.
Yeah.
Even if you just gave people that 2-minute summary of the process, their head's going to spin and say, "What? How do I? Please take over."
Yeah,
They can't.
that's exactly how it goes.
So, and when you walked in here, you gave me your book, and your book is a home guide to Medicaid. Okay, a guide to Medicaid home care in New York. This is the book, and I never thought that should be a book, but apparently it shouldn't be a book, but it has to be a book. So with that said, it's over 100 pages about we just discussed.
It's about what we just discussed, and
Right.
the reason I wrote it
Right.
is so I can hand it to my client after I give them this long
Right.
thing that gives them a headache, and I can hand it to them,
Gives them
and
a
I
headache.
can say, "Listen, follow along
Right.
at home." Because
Right.
they all have a headache. It's very confusing. Even if you're understanding it as we discuss it, it's still a lot. When you go home and you're kind of reviewing it with yourself, it's really a lot. They don't remember.
30 years dealing with finances, you're telling me things I never looked. My clients never went on Medicaid, and I'd even heard of income pool trust, never used one. Again, I didn't. That was an attorney's job, not my job. But
Well, it is.
right. But most financial advisors don't. They'll recommend an attorney. They'll recommend you for something like this, and we wouldn't take on this. This is I could see why this is a specialty, because not every attorney does this.
No, they don't dabble in this.
Most attorneys don't do anything with Medicaid.
No, they don't. No, they're smart enough not to dabble. I mean, I don't dabble in stuff either. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a whole bunch of
the-
stuff I don't understand.
You do this, and you do it well. This is your niche,
That's what we do.
and everyone should be an expert at something. And it's like,
Right.
I don't want an internist doing my surgery, right?
Right.
And that's exactly what
exactly
you
right.
are. So you are not.
Yeah.
You're the surgeon, not the internist.
Yeah.
And the general estate planning attorney is the internist. It's generic advice, but you've taken a niche on within that.
Yeah. And other estate planning attorneys do it. Some do, some don't.
Right. But
I
this
just happened to, and I hated this stuff when I first started doing it.
Gee, why?
Because, it's hard to learn. It really, and it's not just learning the rules and the laws. It's learning how all the little nuances of every entity with their fingers in the pot, like the Queen's office, the Nassau office, the
Right.
Suffolk office. They all have their own ways of doing things.
Yes.
And so, but yeah, now once I've gotten really good at it,
Right. Right.
how do you not do it?
40 years, you finally got good at it. So
That's my whole life.
the whole life, so your whole life since you were 0. So, so clearly, we discussed your value. We discussed options people have. I own long-term care insurance. I'm kind of feeling kind of foolish. I should just done this and saved my premium all these years since I'm
Yeah, they're chopping
45,
away at it.
22 years. What's that?
They're going to chop away at
They're
it.
going to chop away. That's true.
You
At
know,
67, this may not be available
No,
at
the-
87.
The feds are going to be messing with, the
Yeah.
Medicaid program.
Absolutely.
And I think it's in 27, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
There's just no money. Just no
there's
money.
no money.
You're,
And-
you're literally getting blood from a stone. It's what you're doing.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
It's an account with no money in it, and you're getting 24-hour paid 24-hour care. Go figure.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen in the next couple
Correct.
of years. I mean,
Okay.
I don't think anyone exactly
Thank you.
knows
I'll
yet.
keep my insurance. Okay. You never know.
You might want to.
I paid this for. Well,
Yeah,
well,
right. You've got this much
a whole
into it.
discussion
What's that,
about
a sunk cost?
It's exactly
something or other?
Absolutely sunk cost. So with that said, God willing, I'll pay for another 25 years.
Hmm.
But right, knock on wood, right? So with that said, how do people get hold of you? You've given enough reason for people to call you. How do people get hold of you?
Well, they could call us at 718-740-3300.
Repeat that so people have second time.
718-740-3300.
Okay.
That's my Queens number. I have a Nassau number too, but I've been using this number my whole life because
Okay.
we were in Queens for for a long
Well,
time.
they'll find you either way at that number.
Yeah, and we have a website. It's nyanelderlawgroup.com.
nyanelderlawgroup.com.
Just
Okay.
our name
Makes
and
sense.
a .com.
Yeah. Okay. And so that's how they can get hold of you. They can research you. I went on your website that shows your whole staff. It talks about you. It lets you know what you do, and this is your specialty. It wasn't a generic website. It was specific about it. It let me know this is what you do.
Oh, well,
So,
good.
so with that said,
That's its
that's
job.
good. That's his job. Absolutely. So this book's available. People come and see you. You'll hand them a copy of the book. So that's wonderful. So they go home with the game book. They know exactly
Yeah.
what the plan is.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, it was very interesting, stressful, intense discussion. I learned a lot.
You need
I
a
hope
drink?
everyone else learned a lot. Yeah, this water wasn't sufficient. I got to drink what's in this cup. Fantastic. I really appreciate you coming and really educating the audience. There's a lot to go. And please reach out to Lori. You've got a lot of benefits for people. And it's decent people. Don't have to be, you think Medicaid, you think poor. That's not the people you're talking about necessarily.
I just did a webinar yesterday on that exact subject. If you're poor, you got no problem. You can get
Right.
Medicaid. If you're rich, you can pay privately.
Medicaid. I said Medicare. Medicaid. Yes.
Yeah. Middle class.
Yeah.
We've got to make ourselves poor, but there are loopholes that allow us to do
Right,
that. So
right.
take advantage of them.
Take-
you know?
I love it. That's a perfect ending. Take advantage of what the government gives us. Take advantage of.
Right.
Perfect.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for coming and
Very welcome.
enlightening the audience.
My pleasure.
Thank you very
enjoyed
much.
talking.
Same here. Same here. I enjoyed listening.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Unlocking Senior Resources podcast by Leave the Key. If you've enjoyed this episode or found it helpful, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast. We specialize in working with seniors who are transitioning out of their homes, and we understand what you are going through. So if you are considering selling your home and would like an alternative to the traditional overwhelming process, reach out to see how we can help. When working with us, you can sell your home in its current condition, there is no need to remove unwanted items, and you control when the house is sold, along with so many other advantages. Visit leavethekey.com or call us at 631-388-7771 to learn more about our senior home buying process.